families. Appreciate you coming on here and watching. We're going to be talking about two different concepts today. The first being volume of rectangular prisms, and the second being volume of triangular prisms. Okay. Here's your Common Core state standards. It just states that we are going to be finding the volume of these prisms. What are we going to learn today? We are going to find the volume of rectangular prisms. And if we have time, we'll do missing dimensions of rectangular prisms. I am going to try and squeeze on triangular prisms on this video as well. So first part will be rectangular prisms and second part will be triangular prisms. Okay. Here's what you need to know for vocab. Three-dimensional figure. If a shape's 3D, obviously it's not flat. Okay. You can twist it, turn it, look all around it. It's 3D. It's what things in the real life are. Okay. Prisms, rectangular prisms, volume, and cubic units. The big one you need to know there is volume. Okay. How much space is inside of a three-dimensional figure? Okay, that's what that means. How much space is in there? If we could fill it up, how much space would be in it? How much could we fill up with that space? Okay. All right, here we go. The volume, which we're going to use the letter V for volume of a rectangular prism, is the product of its length, width, and height. Hopefully you are thinking the word product. It means multiplication. Okay, so here are the two different equations you can use. Okay, volume equals length times width times height, so it looks like this. Volume is equal to length times the width times the height. Or we can use volume is equal to, you're going to notice this capital B here. Okay, capital B means the area of the base. Okay, the area of the base. So we're looking at, I'm going to go ahead and change pen color here so you can see what I'm talking about. The area of the base, so the area of the side that it is sitting on. Okay, notice that, sorry about the little squiggly line there, but notice that it's a rectangle. Okay, so we would find the area of that rectangle, and going back to chapter 9, okay, so 2 times ago, we're finding the area of a rectangle. We just multiply the length times the width. Okay. For the time being, I wouldn't recommend using this second one. Okay, we're going to have to use it later on for triangular prisms, but I would stick with length times width times height, okay, for right now. All right, so the second one would be the area of the base, which again is just the length times the width, and then we multiply that by the height. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and look at a couple here. They're going to walk you through this first one, and then we'll try one together. Okay. It says find the volume of the rectangular prism. Okay. We need a couple different sides here. We need to figure out what are the sides. I need a length, I need a width, and I need a height. Okay. Here is the length. Okay. We do a cursive L just because they don't want to confuse you with just a regular L. That looks like a 1 possibly, so we use L for length. The 12 is the length because we're talking about how long it is. Okay, talking about how long it is. 10 is going to be your width. Okay, going back, how wide is it? How wide is our figure? And then lastly, 6 is going to be our height going up and down. How tall is that? Okay. So you can see that they are using this formula. I'm going to go ahead and write it down. It was the second formula. They're using this one. V is equal to the area of the base times the height. Okay, they're using the area of the base times the height. You can use that. Okay, that's only going to help you in the long run. So they're saying, okay, the area of the base, if we look at it, it's technically a rectangle. It's technically a rectangle. Okay. if I could go ahead and pull it out for you, it would look something like this. That would be the area of the base, and we know that it's 12, and we know that it's 10. Okay, so they would say, okay, 12 and 10, awesome, just 120. All right, and then notice that they are taking, they're just plugging that in, 120 for the base. They're saying, okay, we have to multiply by the height now. And the height was 6. That's what they're stating right here on the side. And this is exactly what we're doing. And notice that you're going to get a finishing answer of 720. For volume, we use cubic centimeters, okay? We use cubic centimeters just because we're working with 3D shapes. So you can do centimeters cubed. So we put a little 3 up there. Or you can write cubic centimeters, okay? All right, let's go ahead and try one here. I'm going to use both equations. All right, I'm going to use both for you just so you can see both here. Let's see, our answer is going to be 400 here, so let's make sure and check we can do this right. First one, I'll just use the regular volume equals length times width times height. Length times width times height. Got to find all those in our rectangular prism here. Okay, we're going to notice that our length is how long it is. You're going to see that it's up here. It should be 10. Okay. Our width is how wide it is. It's going to be 8 there. And talking about how tall it is, the height is 5. So just plug in what we know. Okay, plug in what we know. We said the length was 10, so just take 10 and plug it in for L. Take your width, which we said was 8, and just plug it in for W. And then take your height, which we said was 5, and plug it in for H. And we just have some multiplication to do. Okay. What is 10 times 8? Hopefully you're thinking 80. And now I'm just left with 80 times 5. And you should be thinking that that is 400, which it is. Cool. All right, and then the second way, we can go ahead and use that other formula, which is volume is equal to the area of the base. Okay, we use that with a capital B, and we multiply by the height. Okay. Now, if we look at the base, you should see that it is a rectangle. Looks something like this. So if I pull it out, the base, the shape that our shape sits on, okay, it is a rectangle. The width over here on this side is 8, and then if you see up top here, it's still a 10. Okay, so the volume of this shape, or the area of this shape, which is our base, is going to be 80. And then we're going to multiply it by our height of the shape, which again is 5. Notice that these two are the same step here. These two are the same step. Now when we solve, we should get volume is equal to, whoops, what did I do there? Volume is equal to 400. Sorry about that. All right, let's try one more. I didn't mean to erase that other one. All right, we have the shoebox has the shown dimensions below. What is the volume of the shoebox? All right, we're gonna do 2 separate ways again. They'll give us the answer here, just so we have it. I'll go ahead and solve it. Let's see what we can do. Volume is equal to length times width times height. Okay, that'll be the first way, and then we'll use this one for the second way. The volume is equal to the area of the base times the height. Okay, let's do this first one first. All right, length. We need to figure out which one of these is the length. How long is the shape? It is going to be 11.5. Let's go ahead and plug that in for B, or for L, excuse me. Okay. I need to figure out the width. How wide is this shape? You can see this faint line. I'm sorry, on this side. This is going to be our width, 7. And then talking about our height, that's going to be the one that I was mistaken, right over here on the right side, 3.5. Okay. Now you can go ahead and take this one step at a time or throw it all in your calculator. It really doesn't matter. You're going to get the same answer regardless. Okay. If I was to go ahead and take this first product here, 11.5, and multiply it by 7 and do it on my calculator, I would get 80 and 5/10, or 80 and a half. And I would multiply this by 3.5 now. So again, go right back to your calculator and just take that and multiply it by 3.5. And you should get the answer on the screen, 281, 75/100. Cool. All right, and let's try this last one right over here. I'll go ahead and do a separating line here so we don't get confused. If we go ahead and look at volume is equal to the area of the base, that's what this capital B stands for, times the height. If I was to go ahead and take out the base, this shape would be a rectangle that looks something like that, but it's really, really not that curvy at the top there, so I apologize for that. Okay. If I was to go ahead and do this, my length, the sides would look like this. It would still be 11 and 5/10. And the other side would be 7. Okay? So I would need to find the area of this rectangle. I do that by just multiplying these two things together. All right? We did this already. Okay? We figured out what these two multiplied were, and it was right down here in this step right here. That was the step that we multiplied. But if you want to go ahead and multiply again, 7 times 11.5, you should get 80.5, or 80.5. Okay, and then we just take that again and multiply it by your height, because that's what the volume equation tells us to do. Okay, and again, we did this. These are the same steps right here. These are the same steps. We're going to get the same answer, which is 281.75. Cool. All right, if you want an extra practice problem, you can use this one. Go ahead and see if you get a good answer for this one. Okay, see if you can draw it out, or maybe you just use the letters, the length, width, and the height, okay, to figure out what this answer is. Let's go ahead and transition right over to our next concept, which is the volume of a triangular prism. Okay. Here's a quick check for you. If you want some more practice problems for rectangular prisms, you can go ahead and pause, go ahead and solve these, and then check your answers on the next screen, okay? We're going to fly right through. Your Common Core state standards are still the same, okay, for this one. Still finding the volume of prisms. What are we going to do on this one? We're going to stay on this course and just find the volume of triangular prisms. We can maybe talk about dimensions of missing another time. Okay. Here's what a triangular prism looks like. Okay, it's called a triangular prism because the base is a triangle. Okay, the base is a triangle. Notice on the other one that we talked about, rectangular prisms, the base was a rectangle. All right. Here's your key concept. The volume, again, we're going to use the capital V, of a triangular prism is the area of the base. Here's where that capital B comes into play, all right, times the height, all right? So here's the equation we're going to be using. Volume is equal to capital B times H, where capital B is the area of the base, okay? Now, really important that we talk about this. How do we figure out the area of the base? Well, we're talking about the area of a triangle. Okay, we're talking about the area of a triangle. And how do I figure out the area of a triangle? There was an equation that we're supposed to use. Okay? The area of a triangle, you use this formula. 1/2 times the base times the height. Or you can use this one. Area is equal to base times height divided by 2. Okay, either of those work. And then we'll just take whatever that answer is and multiply it by the height of our triangular prism. Let's go ahead and try a couple here, all right? They're going to walk you through this one, and then I will do one with you. Okay, it says find the volume of the triangular prism. A lot of stuff going on here, okay? You got to make sure you dissect this first, okay? First of all, we need to look at our base. Notice that this is an upside down diagonal turn triangle, okay? If I was to pull this out and just make it look like a normal triangle, it's still going to be upside down, but that's okay. It's going to look something like that. Hopefully you can say, all right, Mr. Lombardo, I can see this triangle that you just drew, and I know that it's gonna, I could take it out or I could plug it right into that base. Like they look pretty similar. Okay. Now, if I go ahead and take these dimensions that they're telling us in this problem, I would say that 8 goes on this top one here. I would say 10 goes over on this line here. And I would say 12 and 8/10 goes on this line. Hopefully you're okay with that, right? And then notice we also have a 13, but that's actually going to be the height of our triangular prism, all right? So what they are asking you to do, it says the area of the triangle is 1/2 times 8 times 10. The reason we're finding the area of the triangle is because my um, my equation for this, if we go back, is the area of the base times the height. Okay, the area of the base times the height. Here's that right there. Okay, I need to find the area of the triangle that my shape is sitting on. Again, here's what this looks like. If I was to just take this triangle that's on the bottom and pull it out, it would look something like this. I know it's not perfect, don't make fun of me. Okay, and 8 would be up top, 10 would be on the side, and 12 and 8/10 would be on the diagonal line. Okay, 1/2 times base times height. This is what they did here. Okay. Here is the area of a triangle. Okay, that's what we were just talking about. That's what's inside the parentheses. 1/2 times base times height. This is the base. Here's my height. We don't use the diagonal. Remember, we don't like this side. We were talking about that a couple weeks ago. If you ever go to the doctors, okay, they always tell you to stand up straight when they're taking your height. If you lean, you're not going to get the proper height. You need to get straight up and down. That's why we use this straight up and down line. Okay. So what we find here, they actually go ahead and replace their height with 13. Okay, and they multiply all of this together. 1/2 times 8 times 10 times 13. You should get 520 for that. Again, we're talking about volume, so it should be cubic meters or meters cubed. Let's try one and we'll walk through it together. Okay. All right. Here is my formula. Volume for a triangular prism is the base of the triangle, the area of the base, times the height. Okay. Now, if I was to go ahead and take out this base, the triangle that my shape is sitting on, it would look something like this. Hopefully you can see that. This is coming from this right here. I'm just taking it, putting it over here, right? It's saying this side is 7, it's saying this side is 6, and it's saying my diagonal is 9 and 2/10. Okay, technically, if I was to flip this properly, this should be my base, this should be my height. Okay, I'm actually not even going to use 9 and 2/10 here. That's my diagonal line. Okay, I don't want that. So let's go ahead and plug this in here. Volume is equal to capital B, which is the area of the base, right? So finding the area of a triangle, I'm going to go ahead and put it in parentheses, is 1/2 times the base, which was 6, times the height, which was 7. And we're going to take all of that and we're going to multiply it by our height of the triangular prism. We'll worry about that in a second, okay? All right, so I have volume is equal to, let's go ahead and solve this real quick. 1/2 of 6. What is 1/2 times 6? Hopefully you're thinking that's 3. And then we're taking 3 and we're multiplying it by 7. You should get 21. So now I have 21 times my height. I got to figure out what my height is. Let's go ahead and look at the shape. We'll go back up to our triangular prism here. You can see in the back, this dotted line shows how tall the triangular prism is. So we're going to use that for our height. Okay. 4 is going to be the height. And if I was to go ahead and multiply this, 21 times 4, I should get 84, which is actually what the answer states on this side. Notice they are using centimeters cubed because we are dealing with a 3D shape now. It has to be centimeters cubed. All right, I believe this is the last one. So let's go ahead and work through this one again. Let's talk about this. Volume of a triangular prism is equal to, oh, what happened? Sorry, lost my pen there. Volume of triangular prism is equal to the base, the area of the base, times the height of the triangular prism. All right. It's saying that this is a tent, so you kind of got to use your imagination. Tents are 3D. You can obviously go into them. Okay, so we know there is space inside. All right, so you got to use your imagination for this one. Okay. We are going to talk about, and this may be a little confusing for you. You're going to think, okay, Mr. Lombardo, we need to find the area of the base first. That's what this capital B is telling me. Yes, you're absolutely right. And then you're going to say, okay, the area of the base is whatever shape it's sitting on. Well, hopefully we're sitting on something that looks like a rectangle almost. Well, yeah, you're right. But we're dealing with a triangular prism, so we actually have to take this tent that's sitting flat, and we have to go ahead and pick it up so it sits on a triangle. Okay, so we're actually going to be dealing with this triangle in this case. All right, so we need to work with this triangle for the area of our base. All right, so let's go ahead and figure that out. If I was to go ahead and use this triangle here, right in front, the base is 3. My height, straight up and down, is 4. Okay. To find the area of this triangle, I need to do 1/2 times the base times the height. Put all that in parentheses. And then go ahead and multiply it by the height of my triangular prism. All right, let's go ahead and plug in what we know, okay? Let's deal just with this triangular base first, okay? 1/2 times the base, which we said was 3 right here. Okay, now let's deal with the height going up and down. 4. Remember, height is just for the triangle. Okay, not talking about the triangular prism, just my triangular base. And let's go ahead and solve this. If I was to go ahead and throw this in my calculator, 1/2 times 3 times 4, I should get 6. Okay, I should get 6. So now to find my answer, if I just replace this with 6, because I threw that in my calculator, I need to talk about what is the height of my triangular prism now. Well, we used this 4 and we used this 3 already. There's only one number left that we need to use. But why are we using 7? Remember when I said we have to take this flat tenth and then pick it up so it goes straight up and down? Technically, this big long length now, which was 7 originally, becomes my height going straight up and down. Okay, so we pick that 10 up and just put it on its side. So now 7 is the height. And when we multiply 6 times 7, we get 42, which is the answer, 42 feet cubed. Okay. All right, here is another practice problem if you do need it. No shapes, no drawings involved. It's all just talking about dimensions. Okay. If you want to go ahead and give that a shot, go ahead and hit pause and see what you can do for that one. For this week, make sure you are taking care of the practice worksheets. Okay, you're not turning in this practice worksheet, but it will help you. And you need to do the quiz. You need to do the quiz. That is what your points come from for this week, the quiz. Okay. Please contact me if you have any questions. We can work it out. Zoom conference hours are normal. Wednesday, 8 to 9, and then Thursday from 11 to 12. Thanks, guys.